God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen, start your engine!
Opened back in 1960, and over 50 years later, under the lights, the venue tonight for Chase Race number 3 of the season. It's QSR Chase for the Cup. Welcome in, everybody. I'm your host, Bradley Cooper. Alongside me here tonight, I have Daniel Paulus Jr. He was with me last week. We got to see some great racing at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Galen Wunsch was able to finish that race out in the 199, but this week it's going to be a little bit different. 1.5 mile oval here tonight. Daniel, I know that you're just getting familiar with these guys and everything that they set up, but overall, it's going to be probably the Daniel Molnick show here tonight.
Well, we saw last week from Richmond. It was a pretty good short track racing. We saw a long green flag run at the end of the race. There was a lot of carnage, but expected though on short tracks. But here, we're on a bigger track, literally a 1.5 mile track here, with 24 degrees of banking in the turns and 5 degrees going down the front and back straightaway. But it's going to be a whole different type of racing here tonight for these drivers.
Of course, this four-corner oval opened back in 1960. It's since seen many renovations to its grandstands. It's considered the mecca of motorsports. This racetrack has all the amenities that you could think of when it comes to spectating this sport. But here tonight, you're going to see the spectacle in itself, because this QSR Chase for the Cup is just winding down. And the points, well, take a look at these right here. It changes over several times this season, but Jeremy Burns was able to claim the lead going into that final chase. He will have a 27-point lead over Daniel Molnick, who is going to be tough to beat. And, I mean, speaking of that, we're just about ready to grid. Those two have been going at it all season. They're about to go at it here on this running order as we get set to go green. But race analysis up on your screen. 120 laps here today, 5 tire sets available, and of course, as always, 100% fuel with the iRacing Fix setup. 2 attempts at a green-white checker tonight if needed. I'm excited. I hope you're excited at home as well. Let's get you trackside here and get the grid up on your screen. Starting on the pole here tonight, well, I told you, they're going to be duking it out. Daniel Molnick starting up front with a 29.612. That's just enough over Jeremy Burns by 7 1/1000ths of a second to get the pole. Row number 2 belongs to Ronnie Joyner with Jesse Gordon in 4th spot. Then it's Trenton Wilkin, Galen Wunsch in 5th and 6th. Row number 4 belongs to Ryan Philbrick, Brent Allen in 8th. And rounding out the top 10 is Quentin Stewart and Derek McMurtry. Joseph Terciano is going to start in 11th position with Mitchell Costner in 12th. Wyatt Walker in 13th. Chris Nail, 14th position. And we're having a hard freeze up here. Let's try to get it working. There we go. Mike Petrin in 15th position. Bradley Hall in 16th. 17th. Greg Martin, Bryson Witherspoon in 18th, and row number 10 goes to Chuck Sweeting, Ethan Wisnowski in 20th. The rest of the field here, 21st and 22nd, Frank Walsh and Stephen McGough. And rounding out your 23-car field is Reed Sanders in the number 4. So 23 cars here tonight. Hope you're excited to watch tonight's broadcast as we're sitting here on the front stretch getting these cars gridded up. We talked a little bit about the points. We talked a little bit about this racetrack, but overall, Daniel, what's your takeaway so far from the QSR Simulators Chase for the Cup? I mean, this league, they put on a great show. The throwbacks and the nostalgia, that's one thing, but when you come down to the racing, that aspect in itself, it's just fun to watch.
Well, what I'm looking for is I'm going to be looking at seeing if these drivers are going to ease into it or they're going to go really hard right off the bat. But I'm going to be looking for a lot of things here. I'm going to be seeing if the cars are loose like what we saw in practice and qualifying. And that was mostly off of turn 2 or entering turn number 1. That is where we've seen that happen with most of these drivers. But, you know, there's a lot of passing zones here, Bradley. You can pass in the turn 1 and 2. You can pass in 3 and 4. But what I really like to see is them passing on the front straightaway, coming off of 4, where we could see 3 wide.
Through the quad oval, it's notorious, the pass in the grass. There's several instances of drivers going down through there to get around a driver, but the 900 horsepower is going to be difficult to keep in check. As As we set up the front row, Daniel Molnex going to lead him into turn 1. Pace cars off. And for Chase race number 3, we're underway from Charlotte. Problems in the back of the field back there. Bradley Hall had problems. Pick her up on the screen, but we're going to take a quick flashback here. Jesse Gordon on the outside of Jeremy Burns, who's fallen back to 3rd. But let's see if we can find what happened to Bradley Hall here. Let's take a quick instant replay.
Well, let's take a look at this replay right here. You see him on the outside line coming to the start here. It's a good launch here on the outside. Go to the inside here, just inside the 20 machine, and then to turn 1, Bradley.
Probably got loose, like you said, going into 1. There it is, right there.
Yeah,
he gets loose, snaps free, gets down on the apron.
Hits the apron again.
Oh, and he got Chuck Sweeting there. Sweeting down to the inside. The luck continues for the 75 here on V-Speed. What a save there by Chuck Sweeting, though.
Whoa.
Camping off the inside wall.
That's the sweetest move I think I saw so far.
Hey, was that a pun? I believe it was. Molnex leads lap 1, he leads lap 2, he leads lap 3. He's coming around for lap number 4, and I told you what the show was going to be tonight, and Molnex has not disappointed thus far. Ronnie Joyner up in 2nd position, Burns holding back in 3rd. Here they come off of turn number 4. Another lap led for the number 2.
Don't look too far back, as you see right there. In 3rd place is Burns. 4th place is the 10 car Gordon. Watch him because he's been pretty fast in qualifying. I can't wait to see what he can do.
Jesse Gordon was ahead of the 97, or trying to get ahead of him. He was to the outside there before we took that instant replay, but the racing thus far has singled out Molnex up front. Not a lot of passing going on this racetrack right now. Chris Nail is the closest here on a battle. He's pulling up to the back end. I believe that's Mitchell Costner in the 92. This is for the 13th position, but that's the closest car on the racetrack to, I mean, if you want to go relative, it's 1/10 of a second right now as they go into turn 3. Quite a few of these guys that start deep in the field, they'll work their way up through as the race pace comes on. It's a little bit different in qualifying and practice. You're trying to get a feel for the racetrack, you push the limits, but once these guys turn on the race pace, it's a whole different ball game.
And what I'm thinking that these drivers are thinking right now, they saw what happened there on lap 1 with the 23 machine, saw how he got loose there off of turn 1. So they're probably thinking, you know what, we're going to ease into it because you don't want to be in that situation if you're inside the top 10 and you're going to fall all the way back and then you got to work your way all the way back up.
Jerry Burns peeks to the inside, out of turn 4, across the quad oval, and now into turn 1 and 2. He's going to clear Ronnie Joyner, but he gets a little loose. Joyner's going to get the run on the outside. Battle for second is on. Deeper back behind that, Quentin Stewart side by side with Joseph Terciano. Quentin Stewart's going to get by on the outside, and we'll ride on board with him as he clears.
Great onboard perspective here. Going into turn 1. See him using that middle line, Bradley. He's not getting too close to that apron where we saw the previous driver spin out a little bit. But that's what you want to do. You don't want to get hugging that white line because if you hit that apron, it's going to upset the car.
And he's got the entire of 7th up to catch up to right now, 1.2 seconds. It's actually dwindled down to just over a second here. But 2.2 to the leader He's got a lot of ground to make up, but Quentin Stewart more than capable of catching up to these drivers, and he'll be leading the way from 8th place on back. Back up front, though, Burns, he claims 2nd position last time by. He matched identical lap times with Daniel Molnex almost. We're talking about a 1/10 of a second, or a 100th of a second difference here this time around. Almost identical again. A 30.458 for Molnex, 30.452 for Jeremy Burns. That is as close as it gets. A little loose there out of turns 1 and 2, and he falls back. Nobody making any passes. Ryan Philbrick at the tail end of this pack of cars. He's starting to surge towards Galen Wunsch. We'll probably have to wait another 10 or 15 laps or so for these cars. We know the horsepower, we know the capabilities, but they're going to get loose. And we saw it during practice. After 10, 15 laps on the run, these cars just step out.
And that's when it gets really difficult, because when I raced here at Charlotte, and as I was making laps, around lap 20, 25, I just noticed that the car was slipping out beneath my feet here, and I was struggling. I was actually turning a little bit to the right here to keep it going straight without spinning myself out. So it's going to get very, very tricky for these drivers. But it looks like the top 6 right now are pulling away, making their own little pack that you see kind of like on a super speedway, but it's not a super speedway.
Step back here to 8th position. He's lost 2/10. Quentin Stewart not catching up. Wyatt Walker has moved up 4 positions already since the beginning of this race. Number 85 having a stellar day thus far. Started back in 13th. He's into the top 10. 14 laps into this race now. Derek McMurtry is at the end of the top 10, currently where he started this race. And it's quiet, though. I mean, this is a complete opposite of what we saw at Richmond. Here at Charlotte, it's going to be calm and collected, I think, for the most part. These guys are going to tick away a lot of laps, but if I know anything about QSR, there's always that audible, something called there within the last 10 laps or so that changes everyone's strategy, whether it's a caution or maybe the fuel. Take your pick. There's been so many different calls here, and some guys have won off of strategy, some guys have won off of raw pace. Car in the wall back there, that's Terciano, 17, struggling a little bit, but Daniel, if anything you could take away from this league so far, clean racing, but on top of all of the things we've seen, you got to say the talent level of adapting and overcoming all these strategies all season.
Well, they always say the race isn't over until it's over, and there's always that one caution or some hiccup that another driver could steal that win from you if you were dominating that race, and we saw that at Richmond. We could see that here at Charlotte. Basically, at any track, you could see that, but you don't know until it either happens or doesn't happen. So I think that's what puts the cherry on top of these races, is just because you don't know what's going to happen.
I did call it at the start of the show. What did I say to you before we even got live? You're going to be watching the Daniel Molnick show today.
Yeah.
He's just bad fast every time we come here.
Dominating right now. I mean, he led it since the green flag, and it looks like nobody can catch up to him right now. You know, he started first, led all 14 laps. I meant 17 laps, but, I mean, he's doing a stellar job, but I think he's going to be a really challenger to get around, because to me, if you want to get around Molex right now, you're going to have the pace. You got to have to run the line that he's running, but, you know, maybe he's doing something that the other drivers don't know what, but maybe they could pick that up later on in this run.
I can tell you what's advantageous right now is that clean air in front of the 2 car. He is using it to his advantage. He's able to run a little bit lower line, has all the aero push on the front end of that car to keep it down in those corners. Gets a good drive off of turn 4. He'll lead another time by. However, it's starting to accordion back here. Ronnie Joyner falling off the pace a little bit last time by. He lost about 2/10 to Jesse Gordon, who's all over the back bumper, really loose out of turn 2. He's holding on to it, though, trying to get a run for 3rd place.
Using that middle groove, nothing too fancy here at Charlotte. You have 3 grooves right now. You can either be on
he's loose.
For sure,
Look
I
at
thought he
that.
was going to go sideways. Oh,
He's still trying.
oh, there's the grass. Hands in the wall. That's
the
gonna
grass
hurt him.
and the wall, and the 10 of Gordon is going to lose 3 spots right there through the quad oval. Car out of control.
Look at the damage.
Yeah, he lost the right front on that machine, and he will fall back to 7th spot. Quentin Stewart will be the next car to pass, and it looks like that damage on Jesse Gordon probably going to hinder his day.
That is not what he wanted at all, and that's what you basically don't want to happen to you. And I've seen it a bunch of times where, Bradley, these drivers, they're making passes, or they get in that grass, or they clip a little bit of that grass, and it literally makes your car feel like you're on ice, as I like to say. And if you can't control it and you're heading into turn 1 at 150 miles an hour, you're going in that wall, and you're going to hurt yourself a lot by losing positions. And it depends on the damage. If it's really bad, I don't know if it can help you. You might have to come down pit road, and it could end your night very easily. So that's very unfortunate for the 10 there of Gordon. But, you know, I think he can recover a little bit. I don't think he's going to have the winning car because of the damage, but I think he can have a decent finish if he, as long as doesn't, you know, hit the wall again.
McMurtry also loose off of turn 2. He got a little moment there. He was trying to catch up to Quentin Stewart, and now we have a spread across this top 10 pretty wide coming up on lap 23 as they cross the stripe. Go deeper into this field. Mike Petrin currently in the 15th position. He's working on the back of Mitchell Koster, who's went down 2 positions. Brent Allen has went down 5 just in front of him. 13 car struggling a little bit here tonight as well. Side by side just in front of him. That's Wyatt Walker, Chris Nail. Chris Nail gaining positions. These 2 cars, the 85 and the 20, have moved up 2 positions each. Chris Nail trying to break that tie and snag away 11th spot. He will, and the 85 really loose out of turn 4. Little moment there. These cars starting to loosen up. We're right on that window now where these cars are almost uncontrollable. I think Quentin Stewart just found that out. He's got some right front damage.
He's drifting it through the turn right there.
He loses another 3 spots back to 12th now for the 24 car.
You could see the rear basically like slipping away from him. So it's looking like a dirt car basically that's on ice through the turns, and that's going to be very challenging. Maybe he's going to try to stick it out until either a caution comes out and they can come down pit road, or he's just going to wait until everybody else does. That's going to be a lot to take care of in the meantime.
All these cars kind of having the same symptoms right now. You can see coming out of turn 2, the 20 of Nail. He steps out a little bit, allows the 85 of Wyatt Walker to catch back up after all that ground that he had made up on him. Then it looks like from 8th position on back is starting to fall out. Daniel Molnick still your leader, though. He's pulled out a full second over Jeremy Burns, Ronnie Joyner in 3rd, Trenton Wilkin, and Galen Wunsch in the 199. Sitting in 5th. He is going to work on Trenton Wilkin here in 3 and 4.
Now this is where you would start, you know, getting that little draft pace from the 12 car, try and make a pass, but so far it doesn't even look like he's going to have that opportunity right now, so he's probably leaning back a little bit, just relaxing in this position right now. But you know, Bradley, you got to start making a move if that opportunity's in front of you. Am I right or wrong?
I mean, if it presents itself, you got to kind of take it.
You got to take it.
You got to be careful, too, because this car, when you're not running the line you're familiar with, and some of these guys will pinch you down, put you in a bad spot. You can quickly lose positions if you make a mistake.
Oh, yeah. It's basically a risk it for a biscuit, as I like to call it.
And to risk it for the biscuit, yeah. I mean, and you can see these cars overall, the power... You gotta harness that throttle pedal. That's the trick to these cars. If you can learn how to drive these, you can probably drive any stock car on the service across the board. So just learning how to navigate that, actuate that throttle, and work back and forth. And here we go with Wilkin really loose off of turn 4. That's going to allow Wunsch to the outside for 4. He clears.
And something about the car, Bradley, you know, what I see a lot of these drivers do is where they will, first time in a stock car, they will literally push on the gas as hard as possible, and they have a rear tire spin, and that is not what you want. You got to ease into the throttle and adjust it to your ability to where you're comfortable, and it takes time to get used to it, but once you're used to it, you're a pro at it. And right there, from the 12 car, I for sure thought was going to wreck, but they kept it straight.
Holding on to it for another lap. 30 laps in. Less than 100 to go. Molnex pulls out a little bit further, 1.5 seconds. Burns falling back to Joyner a little bit here. Last time by, he was a little bit slower. Joyner with a 31.7. Burns has a 31.8. So your points leader, he's running in second, and nothing to panic about just yet, but he is starting to fall off the pace. This race stays green at this rate. He could fall out of the top 5. Ryan Philbrick in the 06. Wanted to work on Galen Wunsch. This tandem of cars from 4th and 6th position. Philbrick stuck in the middle. Car back there passing. That is actually the 21, 22 on your screen. Bryson Witherspoon, he has fresh tires. He is 9 laps down. Last car in the lead lap, Terciano, and he comes down pit road, and the 17 machine's going to get service.
That just brought up my question for you, Bradley, is when do we expect to see these pit stops start occurring? Who's going to be the first one in? Who's going to be the last one out? When do we start seeing this happen?
Well, if guys are struggling, I would say probably somewhere around now, but you know, the guys that are having a good time out here, like Daniel Molnex, Jeremy Burns, I would say probably around lap 60, lap 65 in that range. Split the run in half, why not? That makes perfect sense here for the fuel, but, you know, tires, they're king. We've already seen 2 seconds of fall off almost. 31.7 compared to the best lap time was a 29.9 to start this race. So you're going to see guys maybe come down and short pit a little bit because these tires are falling off so much. But if you're in clean air right now like the 2 car, you're going to run it all the way to lap 60 at the least.
Talk about check out. He literally checked out from the rest of the field. The rest of the field's probably thinking, how is this guy so good at a place like this? Well, I mean, hey, it all comes down to practice. How many times have you run at this track? I mean, you got to know the advantages, the disadvantages, what lines can you use. But it all changes, Bradley, when, you know, the temperature changes. Are you running day? Are you running night? And so far, the track conditions, you know, it's 80 degrees out. The track is 87. So, you know, the hotter temp, the more slicker it's going to get. We're seeing it already with these cars. I mean, do we see it getting better? I don't know. What do you think?
As that track rubbers up, it is going to get a little more treacherous out there, and it was already bad enough, but most of it's the horsepower on these cars. Pretty cool track, to say the least. And weather-wise, pretty mild, but I think most of it's just leaning on that right rear and steering with the throttle. That's the trick, and you might see these cars migrate since they've ran a lot of green flag laps thus far. They'll probably migrate up towards the middle line, and especially in 1 and 2, where you see right now Molnex down all the way on the bottom. But Burns, he's up about half a lane here.
Well, you also got to think, you know, do you feel comfortable down there where the leader's running? You know, because it might look easy off of your view from looking at him, but I mean, it might not be that easy when you're doing it yourself. So that's another risk you're going to take. But I mean, if he's this far out, I mean, he has a 2-second lead over 97 of Burns. So while he's out so far, you know what I would do? Hang back, see how this race is going to play out, do your pit stop, and see where that takes you.
Oh boy, this is right in front of 3rd place here. 21 of Bryson Witherspoon gets really loose off of turn 2.
That was close. Look at him.
He let off of it though. Witherspoon came down pit road. He's 10 laps down like we said, but situation here with the lap car, you're better off to just let him go. Jeremy Burns looks like he might have came down pit road here. He did.
Let's see if he gets some tires and fuel.
He's definitely going to get 4 tires here. Yeah, you'd have to be crazy not to take 4.
Hey, I would take 4 instantly because I don't want to fight a loose race car, you know?
A lot of these guys are probably going to come down for service now. You have Brent Allen in as well from the 16th position. Reed Sanders coming down to get serviced in this machine. Joseph Tergiano down and away.
So far right now, it looks like these drivers are coming in on lap 38, 39. So basically, you know, it's basically you have a 39 lap advantage here on one set of tires. So if you come down pit road again, that's going to be around, what, lap 70-ish? Somewhere around there again to come down pit road, see how their strategy works out, because it might not be that long, but you know, they might come in early, they might come in really late, that second pit stop, you just don't know. But it looks like they can run 38, 39 laps of controlling the car before it probably gets worse.
Well, Ronnie Joyner is going to stay out a couple more here. Galen Wunsch just behind him. Trenton Wilkin, we still have 5 cars there have yet to pit. Ethan Wisnowski in the 5th position from 20th spot. He could stand to gain it. Oh, and Barry Luce out of 2. Wow, what a handful.
See, I don't know how you could control that, because me personally, I probably could never control that. I'll be honest with you. Because when I was here at Charlotte, I just went right around. I just couldn't keep it in the throttle.
Riding on board with the 5 of Wisnowski. Even to
that
the
wheel.
quad of things out of control.
It would look so cool right now if he got loose off of a turn and to see that wheel. You see him go to the right. You see him go to the right a little bit, Bradley, and that's because he's fighting with that race car. Right there again. He's going to turn to the right a little bit.
So Joyner's still out on the racetrack. Burns with fresh tires, going to go to the inside. 4 cars still left to hit the pit road.
Hey, look at the
on the
advantage.
halfway point.
Look at the advantage that 97 to Burns went by the 00 Joyner. That is the difference between fresh tires and the old tires on these cars. I mean, look, they're already, I would say, 2 seconds and 2.5 seconds ahead now of the 00. So that's a big advantage.
The other advantage I'm seeing here for the 97 is he came down pit road a little sooner than Molnix. He got ahead of him here. Does that dirty air interfere with the 2 car? It does. He gets really loose off of turn 2, almost snaps it free, has to save it. Oh, and the 5 in the wall there coming into the 3. Wisnowski.
Tires on the 2 are probably crying right now. But here he comes once again, Molex, all over the bumper in the 97 to Burns in 1. He's getting there. Let's see if he's going to go to the inside, coming down the back straightaway. He's going to stay right behind him.
So it's a disadvantage of dirty air that's not helping the 2 car, but what a drive into 3 actually pushes up a little bit.
He knows he wants to get this lead because once those tires start wearing down, that gap is going to expand again, and you know you're going to get that loose race car, so you might as well get the lead right away.
Well, and not only that, but for every lap that he sits behind Burns, it's more time that those tires, he's going to have to steer a little bit harder to stay down there.
Right.
Going to use up his stuff. Here he goes to the inside. This would be for the race lead. 97 on the outside. This could be the first lap led for Burns, and he won't get it.
That takes care of that. Set sail.
So close to leading the lap.
Burns looked like he was going to fight back on the inside there. He's not going to do it. He's going to stay in second, it looks like.
So Daniel Monex takes back the point on lap 46. Right across the line coming out of turn 4. He dives to the inside and completes the pass. 47 laps about to be completed when they come out of turn 4 here now. 46 rather. But you are watching the QSR Chase for the Cup. We're going to take a quick commercial break. Got some things to sort out. Give the voice a break. More coverage continues here on V-Speed right after this.
I just got 3 things to say. God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen, start your engine!
Back here live from Charlotte Motor Speedway. It's the Daniel Molnick show. He has led over 40 laps here today. 42 and now 43 as he crosses the line. He's been on a clinic right now, and I already called it here before the broadcast that the 2-car was going to be tough to beat. Jeremy Burns did get ahead of him there for a moment, but he had to short pit to do so, and based off of these pit stops that we've seen already, if you're just joining us, it looks like these guys might make it a 2-stop race because tires are so important here tonight. I don't know what's to come here, but these guys all hit pit road between lap 35 and lap 42. I think that we're probably going to see 2 stops based off of that count. They're going to split this race into thirds. Burns has held on here to the second position. The top 2 has not changed hands officially. Trenton Wilkin, though, he has worked his way into the top 3. Couple positions gained here for the 12 machine. Galen Wunsch up 2 spots. Jesse Gordon, who had damage, he still has that damage on the right front. He's got a lot of work cut out for him here, but he can still salvage a top 5 day. He's just on the edge of that, currently in the 6th position. But earlier in the race, by about lap 15, he got loose and put some right front damage on that.
A driver that I want to point out here, Bradley, is he was in 10th place. It was the 24 car. You know, look at this mess right now that he's in of Stewart. I mean, he's literally in a mess where it looks like a highway. They're going crazy. They were 3 wide for a little bit, but he's still struggling with that rear there. And it would be amazing if he gets a top 10 here tonight, but right now he's got a lot on his plate.
Yes, he does. Just outside the top 10. Big gap here between Chris Nail and Derek McMurtry. Let's go on board with the number 24 machine. He's got a handful. Watch that wheel here. The iRacing avatars look so much calmer than some of these drivers right now. Way up near the wall, he couldn't even tell.
I don't know if he hit the wall a little bit or what, but he's
got a handful here. He's got a mirror full of the 13 here.
Yeah, the 13, I mean, he's been all over him. Allen, he's been all over the 24 Stewart, and here they are. They're going to be side by side pretty much. There's Stewart just in front of Allen there. And here he comes creeping up on the 24 once again.
Down to the inside for the 92 of Costner. He's going to try to snag away the third. Well, he's actually 92. He had scored in 11th position. It's just, yeah, outside the top 10 right now, it's all up for grabs.
Yeah, well, hey, if you get a top 10 finish, I would be like, that's a pretty good night because, you're fighting a loose race car. It's hard to make passes. I would be completely fine with a top 10. Yeah, top 3, top 5, a win would be great, but, whatever you can get, just get it,
On board with the 92 of Costner, looking to the inside. The 85 of Wyatt Walker going to try to slide job out of 4. Doesn't get the pass completed.
I thought for sure the 85 was going to come up in front of the 92, but it looks like it wasn't going to happen here.
Oh, car in the
Clear
wall.
of the 92.
Quentin Stewart got into the wall there. They were 3 wide there briefly. It's a slight little brush with the wall there, and wow, that was close.
Can't be any closer than that.
Back up front, Daniel Monix is pulled away. He finally got clear of Jeremy Burns there, prevented him from leading a lap, pulls back to a full second lead almost. 9/10 of a second as we come by for the halfway point. And if you're not familiar here on V-Speed, one of the favorite things I like to do, it gives my voice a break, but it also gives you an opportunity to find the volume switch on that smart device or wherever your child has hidden the remote control. We're going to get loud here for a few laps. Let's turn up that volume. Hear the sights and sounds here. QSR from Charlotte. Get loud here on V-Speed, leading another lap this time by Daniel Moldex. I'm actually watching over here on Quentin Stewart. Took a hand off the wheel there for a moment. Starting to yawn a little bit. I think these guys may be getting a little fatigued as this race continues on under green since it dropped. Lap number 1.
Lap 64 working their way all the way up to lap 120. And Bradley, this race is going by quicker than, I don't know, me skipping over the sand. But let me tell you, I wasn't expecting this race to go by so fast, but I was expecting the 2 of Molex to be leading here. And he's been leading, but, he wasn't the leader the whole time. We did have no other leader. We had the 00 of Joyner that was leading. We did have the 97 of Burns that was leading for a few laps. But ever since the 2 got back up to the lead, he's now stretched that lead over to 1.6 seconds over second place of Burns.
Well, it makes you wonder, though, what kind of strategy some of these guys are going to try to take on now that we know they're pitting around lap 40. Probably going to see these guys down again on lap 80 or so. Split this race
That
into
might be-
thirds.
That might be the money stop though for some of these drivers, you know, because like you mentioned, there might be 2 pit stops, so there might be that possibility where you're gonna be making this final pit stop. You don't want to make any mistakes. Don't come in speeding. Don't come off speeding. Don't miss the pit box, because I've seen that a bunch of times. That wastes a whole bunch of seconds there. Just don't make any mistakes. Do how you normally do it, and just ease into it. And then when you're back out on track, if somebody's in front of you, you have the opportunity to go for it. Go for it, because that might be your only shot at winning this race here tonight.
Ronnie Joyner was running in about the second, third position before those pit stops. He's back to 5th right now, working on Trenton Wilkin in the number 12. Galen Wunsch has worked his way up to 3rd. And remember, Wunsch, dominant performance at Richmond. Not a chase contender in this series, but I tell you, the way he's been driving these last 2 weeks, 199 very much deserves to be up there in that top 12 to make that cut. He has put on a great show here at Charlotte. Definitely a great show at Richmond.
Well, let's look back right now at the 13 of Allen and the 24 of Stewart. Let's see how they're doing right now here on lap 7. You've seen right there, they pretty much sorted themselves out here. Oh, man, right as we're talking about, Brent Allen in the wall there. Started 8th, currently 14th. He got in that wall back there. I don't see too much damage, but yeah, they're pretty much spread out for most of this part, Bradley.
Big spread from 12th position on back. Then there's some battling going on in the 85 of Walker, the 92 of Costner. Got further ahead of that, Jesse Gordon is trying to salvage his day in 7th position right now. And then Trenton Wilkin. He has Terciano behind him, who's 2 laps down. Bryson Witherspoon on the outside coming out of turn 2. There's going to be a caution. I feel like it's going to happen around here.
Well, let's not do a commentator's curse, but you know that happens a lot.
Just the way that those guys on fresher tires. I mean, Witherspoon has been on a different strategy all night long.
Right.
Currently in 18th or 20th spot, but started 18th. He was the first car to come down pit road, and he had problems at the very beginning of the race.
You know what's really interesting though, Bradley, is that you looks like a driver who's been, you know, dominating, and you know their strategy goes down the tube. Have you ever like noticed that with a few drivers?
Yeah, I mean, there's always a select few guys that are a little off the pace, and they try to pull a strategy that'll get them back into the mix. But I've always, oh wow, loose off a 2. Witherspoon almost loses it there, but I've always been an advocate for if you're outside looking in from the start of the race, you're probably going to be outside the box at the end of it as well. A lot of things got to go your way. If you're calling strategy, you're trying to pull something out of the hat there. Sometimes it's just best to run the guys around you or dial it back a little bit. Might be doing something wrong. Reevaluate it.
Yeah. Right there with the 22, that looked just like how we saw the 23 of Hall wreck on lap 1 there. The same spot it looked like too. So that's the second driver now that's tried getting close to the white line. And he almost had the same issue. So I don't know if we're going to see any more drivers do it. But if they are going to do it, good luck to them.
Ronnie Joyner back up to 4th spot now. Got around Trenton Wilkin. Going to go to work on Galen Wunsch. He's catching up to the 199 as we speak. Last time by, it was about a 10th faster. 199 and then the 12. So all 3 of these cars right here on similar pace, but within a 10th of each other. Ryan Philbrick in 6th spot. He is 3 seconds back from Trenton Wilkin for 5th.
Very good run.
These guys are ticking the laps away. We're 3/4 of the way through this race almost. About 5 laps from that pit window here. Jeremy Burns last time came down on lap 36, I believe it was. Very early down pit road.
Yeah. Now the question is, do we see that happen again, or are we going to see, you know, here we are, lap 80, nobody came down pit road. Here it is, lap 83, 84. You know, we start seeing some drivers making in the pit road. So are they going to probably stretch this out a little bit so it's not as bad towards the end of this race where they're fighting their car for the rest of their life? Or do we see somebody come in a few laps early, like right around this time here on lap 76?
Guess is as good as mine right now. If I'm Jeremy Burns, I'm probably just going to stretch this run out as far as I can. Daniel Monex is in another time zone, 2.5 seconds as he comes out of turn 2.
Wow.
He is, he's pulling on him right now. Last time by, Burns a little bit quicker, but Monex also navigating some lap traffic. 22 down pit road. That's Greg Martin. Hitting from 15th right now. And he is currently being scored as a lap down.
Hasn't been inside the top 10. He's already a lap down. It's just not a solid night from the 22 so far. But, I mean, that happens to a few drivers here. You know, there's drivers, Bradley, where they could be really strong here on mile and a half. They could be horrible on super speedways, vice versa. It happens to all drivers because every driver has a different feeling and comfort going to a track that they know very well. Like Molnex right now, who's been dominating Charlotte basically this whole race, and he's very comfortable here at Charlotte. So I can see why he's out here leading, but I mean, it looks like he's on another state from here.
And I'm not entirely sure if Bradley Hall is still in the chat or not, but he did chime in there. He said, I got loose, I locked it down, and then the car just jerked to the right. So it was being goofy here tonight. The guys replied that it was just cold tires, and so he agreed on that. But
oh,
you know,
Burns is pitting.
Well, that settles that. Not as early as last time, but still very early, and almost slides it through the box there.
Yeah, it looks like these drivers are going to come right down here on lap 80. Maybe one or two stretch it out. We'll see what happens with the 199.
60 Petron's around. Petron hits the inside wall. Don't back it up too far.
I think he's fine from here on out. And there's our leader.
Daniel Molnex came down right after the 97 hit pit road. So where does that put? Galen Wunsch is now the leader. He has a lap led. The 00 Ronnie Joyner also has a lap led. These are bonus points for all these drivers that don't have the points lead, of course. This is an advantage going into next week at Homestead. But the 199 of Wunsch, you know, like we said, he won at Richmond. Not a chase contender, but I mean, he deserves to be in there. Based off of the runs that he's been having, guy's a top 5 threat every week. I don't know why the 199 didn't quite make the show.
There's Molex on the pressure tires. There's the 97 of Burns.
Guys are tick, tick, tick on the laps here.
I mean, this is his shot right now. This is his shot. If he wants to get this lead, he's going to have to get past the 2. And you see him right in front of you. So when this all cycles out, these are going to be the top 2.
Already pulling out, though.
That's a shame, man. He was close, too.
It's a full second here, and he's pulled away already. Now I gotta wonder, these guys staying out here an additional 4 laps. Galen Wunsch probably should bring it down pit road, but are they praying for a caution, something to go wrong for somebody out here on the racetrack?
Well, if a caution comes out, that changes everything.
We've flirted with disaster a couple times here tonight.
Yeah, we have. '97 closing in a little bit.
We got Sturciano that just got loose out of turn 2. It was. We got another lap down here.
This 97's gonna have to try to get through this traffic here in order to get to the 2. If he can get to the 2's bumper, I think he has a legitimate shot at contending for this race win, contending for the lead. But if he can't get through these cars right now, in that 2's in that clean air, kiss it goodbye, because it's gonna be really challenging.
I think right now with the lap traffic, we're just kind of navigating through, and 2 cars got clean air. I think he's going to pull away even more.
Well, let's see if the 97 of Burns can use this 24 to the advantage here. He's gone around the other car. Let's see if he can use this one.
Oh, that is hanging it out there on the outskirts of the exit of turn 2. Burns is pushing this car as hard as he can to try to catch up to the 2 of Molnick's 97. Very loose there through the exit, but I don't know. I don't know if he has anything for him.
Well, I think what's going through his mind right now, Bradley, is that, I think this is his only opportunity that he has in order to contend for this win. And he's closing in little by little. I mean, the 2's not going anywhere. If he can get to that 24, move him out of the way, he's going to be right there. He's closing in. You're seeing it right here.
'24 car in between this group of Quentin Stewart, 1 lap down, trying to get his lap back the old-fashioned way. The right front damage probably not helping that cause as he comes out of 1 and 2 on the bottom. Runs right in the tire marks of Daniel Molnick's. Less than half a second here between first and second spot. Lap car probably giving some dirty air to the 97 of Burns.
I think if the 24 wasn't there, maybe he had a better shot with that cleaner air, but he's going to have to fight through it. He might have to legitimately move the 24 up the track.
Down the back stretch, doesn't look like anything yet. The Quentin Stewart will definitely get out of the way and try to let these leaders duke it out. Still half a second here. We're remaining 30 laps from Charlotte.
Hey, I mean, if I was the 24 and I saw second place behind me and I know I can't get my lap back, I would just move up out of the way.
He's going to keep fighting. He's going to stay there in that spot until they make him leave. You do what you got to do.
Dropping back. He's dropping back a little bit. I don't know if he used his tires up already, but man.
48 to McMurtry. He's going to go down to the bottom of the racetrack to try to get this pass cleared. He will have the nose down the back straightaway. 97 is going to let him by. Now he's got 2 cars in front of him.
That's even worse. This is not what he was hoping for, but this is what the 2 was looking for. I think there was a little contact there between the 48 and the 24. Stewart. Side by side.
Definitely contact through the quad oval. This is all behind your leader, Daniel Molnick.
I mean, he can't hold them off for long. I mean, they're right there. I mean, if they get side by side with this 2, that's going to slow them down a little bit, but that's going to help the 97. Oh, somebody's in the wall.
Oh,
and 24's in the wall. He goes around.
Wow.
That might bring out our caution.
What a save there by Quentin Stewart.
All right, you can see it on his face, too. He's not happy with that. And we're staying green.
car up in the wall ahead of the 24 to go into turn 1.
Watch this going through the quad oval. See a 54 right there in the top lane. And you know, you're going 155 miles an hour. You just have no time to react. He's in the wall, and once you're in the wall, you're going on it. Into the grass, straightens it out. Heartbreak for the 24 Stewart there. Almost got his lap back.
So Frank Walsh coming off of turn 2. A lot of things happening, but that was right in front of your leaders. That could have went wrong in so many ways.
And look at this, the 97 of Burns has no traffic at all in front of him right now. So his main focus is on that 2, but that 2 is a 1.5 second lead in front of him.
That's a lot of ground to make up, and you see even this time by, it goes up even higher.
I think what he needs right now is a caution, and I think if that caution were to come out, that's what would have been right there for the 24 Stewart, but unfortunately, I think this is going to be it. I don't think we're going to have one.
Haven't had one yet. Race has stayed clean and green. Race recap on the top of your screen. 5 lead changes and 0 yellow flags here tonight. From Charlotte Motor Speedway, and Chase race number 3 has not disappointed thus far. We're going to step away and take another quick commercial break. You're watching the QSR Simulations Chase for the Cup. Uninterrupted coverage here for the remaining 20 laps when we come back.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Back here live from Charlotte Motor Speedway. We're riding around right here with 5th position Galen Wunsch. He is catching up to Ronnie Joyner. Remember, Joyner passed him earlier in this run, but now it looks like the 199 has the long run speed. He was about 0.2 of a second faster than Ronnie Joyner. Top 5 was Molnix, Burns, Wilkin, Joyner, and Wunsch. And you go back to Jesse Gordon, who's in 6th spot. Philbrick, Sweeting, Nail, and Walker. Remember, Chuck Sweeting got caught up there earlier in this race. Was what happened to Bradley Hall. Sweeting's salvaged the day. I mean, he's back up to 8th. Kudos to him for sticking it out.
It looks like an alien on the front of that car.
Now, I can't quite tell what's on the hood of that. It looks like some tribal flames.
I mean, it does look like an alien. Am I wrong, or?
From far away, for sure.
But I mean, that is a cool looking scheme. I like the green and how like it has different patterns on it. But let's look back at the 06 of Philbrick, who's currently 7th right now. Here on lap 102, right in front of him, you see the 10 car of Gordon and Ryan Philbrick. You know, he started 7th. Here he is in 7th. He didn't lead any laps, but he's side by side with the 10. Is he gonna make a pass for 6? This is going to be a great run for him by the end of the night.
He's going to try to salvage that spot right there. Next car would be Galen Wunsch. He is 5.5 seconds ahead. 06 just trying to get one more spot here before the conclusion of this race. 10 car on the outside. Of course, still has that right front damage. They're going to go side by side out of turn 4. Philbrick not able to clear. There he
Might
goes.
do a crossover here in the turn 1. No slide job. Back up front here, our leader of Daniel Mullen. Still our leader, about 2.5 seconds, 2.5 seconds over our second place 97 of Burns. Pretty much checked out here once again on those fresher tires after that final pit stop. And he's just waiting for that white flag to hit, and he's going to be all good to go, collect that trophy.
Well, he deserves it at this point. I mean, he's put on a dominant performance. This is kind of what we saw at Richmond. And then we had that late caution, put Galen Wunsch kind of behind the 8 ball. He had to do a couple restarts to get that thing sealed and delivered. Nothing's ever said and done. And we found that out here at QSR. You could lead every single lap, but if you don't lead the last one, it doesn't mean anything. Burns has fallen back 2.7 seconds now. Still a solid day. He'll retain the points lead. Remember, coming in, it was about 27 points over second place. That's plenty of gap here to play with, and if you finish in second tomorrow or next week, I mean, no reason that you can't lock this championship up. Reigning champion, defending champion, Burns, holding on to second spot right now.
That's all you basically need, and that's going to be very, very helpful with the 97. But, I mean, think about the two. He's been really good week in, week out, and imagine losing a championship that was in your grasp by only a certain amount of points. You know how frustrating that would be for the two of Daniel Mullen, who's led every single lap here almost at Charlotte, putting this all together, and he still never gets a championship.
I can tell you how frustrating it is because we participate in the Tuesday League here at QSR, and we've logged quite a few laps, got a couple wins. You have one bad week, and that's really all it takes to set you back here. You see 3rd through 5th position, very close together here with about 10, 11 laps to go. 11 and a half as Monex comes down the backstretch into turn 3. Phenomenal day here for the two of Monex. Jeremy Burns, Trenton Wilkin, the top 3. And how about Ryan Philbrick? He got around the 10 of Jesse Gordon. He still has a lot of ground to make up to get a top 5, but solid day for the 06.
Hey, again, I would take a top 10. Here comes the 13 down pit road. Don't know if he's low on fuel or he's going to get new tires. Let's see.
Yeah, it's just looking like new tires. It's going to be tires. The fuel should make them to the end here.
There's the 60 car. Here's our leader. Ryan on board, Bradley. Let's see what kind of line he's running here. Seeing if he can be an advantage to anybody else. Seeing what we're not seeing. You see him right there. This is the closest I've seen a driver all tonight, Bradley, be to that white line.
I mean, he's pretty smooth around this place. He hasn't made any mistakes. Even in traffic, he's been clean. We're right on board here with the 97. Galen Wunsch was able to get around actually for the 4th spot here. It's getting tight for the top 3. Podium positions up for grabs with less than 10 to go. that earlier Wunsch was a little bit faster than Joyner. He'll fall back to 5th. And after last week at Richmond, Joyner does not need outside of the top 3. He's got to put it together. He was up front in the points all season long, but came chase time, and he's just fallen off a little bit here. So he needs to have a top 3 day.
Well, so far he looks like he's gonna have a top 5 day, and he's doing pretty good right now as we're crossing the line here. Gonna be soon on lap 115, so that means 5 laps to go here for the 2 machine, and he's putting on a clinic, and he knows it's in his grasp.
Over 3.5 seconds as he comes out of turn 4. I gotta hand it to him though. Even after Burns got in front of him on that first pit stop, we thought, maybe that dirty air would interfere with him, make him use his stuff up a little bit sooner. That hasn't been the case. Both pit stops, pulls back out to a massive lead. This is the biggest one all night long of over 4 seconds. That's an eternity at Charlotte. There it is, 5 to go now. Popping up on the leaderboard. Daniel Molnick's your leader. He's led the vast majority of this race. And he'll continue to do so all the way to the end. Unless we get a caution, I don't see anybody having anything for the 2.
Neither do I, but man, fast race. No cautions, actually. I mean, it did look like we were going to have that one caution. 24 Stewart did not happen, but I mean, the 199 has done a fantastic job getting all the way back up to 4th place. He's gonna have a nice solid top 5, and what's really good in the top 10 right now, Bradley, is the 75 of Sweden. Getting the top 10 has struggling all night, but I mean, take anything that you can get.
Well, then the shake-up right here. The movers and shakers of this league. Galen Wunsch is one of those guys after last week's win, now trying to get another podium. Didn't have enough TV time, didn't have enough time up in the booth last week. Thought he'd come up here and try it again. He's catching Trenton Wilkin last time by, about 0.2 faster. Before that, it was 0.3, so he is definitely quicker than the 12. Car on the wall, it's a 21. Bryson Witherspoon. But here's a pass with 3 to go. For podium, 3rd spot.
Oh, don't lean on the quarter panel, that's the worst. I think he's gonna have one more shot to do it here, Bradley. Might be a photo finish for 3rd.
Looking that way here, as Daniel Molnick will come out of turn 4 and get the white flag up in the air here tonight from Charlotte. Dominant performance. White flag makes it official, and he'll just have to go around one more time to claim victory in chase race number 3. Going back here, looking side by side though through the grass. The 199 is going to send it hard. Trenton Wilkin trying to hold it off for 3rd.
Here he comes. He's sliding. He's on the bumper there. He's gonna send in the 3 and 4. I already see it. We might do a slide job here. Here he comes. Here he comes. Is it gonna be enough?
It's not gonna be enough across the line for 3rd, but he did get to the inside. Wilkin will hold on, but Daniel Molnick will be victorious here today from Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Oh my goodness. That was awesome. That was awesome. Even though Daniel Molnick checked out, we almost just saw a photo finish for 3rd. That was pretty good. Good sportsmanship.
Back on the replay here. There's the white flag through the grass. He almost had him there. Back that up one more time out of turn 4. How about that?
Yeah, I mean, look at this. He's literally on the corner panel. I mean, if the start finish line was just a little farther down, I think he would have gotten it. But I mean, he was, oh man, what, 3-4 inches maybe from getting third place over the 12. So that's really good sportsmanship.
We're going to try it again here. That pass happened on the white flag, but we're going to go one more time around. Had Galen once tried that move on the final lap that he just did prior, he probably would have got top 3.
There he is. This is
talking about 500ths of a second. Yeah, he sent it hard.
He's like, you know what? Race is over. Pit crew cleanup. But you know, here's our winner, Daniel Mullock's going down the back straightaway. The Miller Lite team, I'm liking that. Miller time, party time.
Well, congratulations to Daniel Molnex and the entire top 3. A solid race all day. Caution free here tonight for Chase race number 3. And now it's the moment where we send it off to commercial break, round up the top 3, post-race interviews, and your final results. You're watching QSR Simulations Chase for the Cup live on V-Speed. We'll be back right after this.
I just got 3 things to say. God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen, start your engine!
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Back here live from Charlotte Motor Speedway, QSR in their Chase for the Cup series has concluded their 120 laps here tonight for Chase race number 3. Final results up on your screen. 0 cautions, completely caution-free, clean and green for 5 lead changes, and Daniel Molnex with a dominant performance will get the victory over your points leader, Jeremy Burns. Trenton Wilkin in that top 3, great finish for him. Galen Wunsch put up a fight there in the last, I would say probably the last 5 laps or so, but really a fight in the last 2. He'll get 4th. Ronnie Joyner, who was up in the top 3 to start the first third of this race, he falls back to 5th, but a good race for him overall after starting at 3rd. Ryan Philbrick, impressive here. He finishes in 6th spot. Jesse Gordon falls back after some damage. He goes to 7th, lost 3 positions. Chuck Sweeting recovers up to 8th after starting back in 19th. Had problems at the start of the race, finishes in 8th spot. Congrats to him. Chris Nail, another stellar day. The 20 car could have done better in qualifying, but he did better in the race. He gets a top 10. And then it's Derek McMurtry rounding out for 10th place. Mitchell Koster is going to finish in the 11th spot with Wyatt Walker in 12th. Quentin Stewart, damage on the right front of that machine. He'll finish in 13th. Craig Martin in 14th. Mike Petra in 15th. Joseph Terciano and Brent Allen, 16th, 17th spot. Ethan Wisnowski in 18th. Bryson Witherspoon. And these cars all more than one lap down, of course, as I mentioned these names from 15th on down. You've got Frank Walsh, Reed Sanders, Bradley Hall, and Stephen McGough to round out the field. But we're catching up with our top 3 now. First car on pit road, we have Trenton Wilkin, who held on over Galen Wunsch. What a finish there. He got you there on that second to last lap, but he couldn't replicate it there coming across the line for the checkered.
Oh, I was like, man, I just have to get it to like 5 to go, and I think I can hold them. I never worked so hard.
It looked like it was a handful all night, but then those last 5 or 6 laps, you were really pushing that car.
Oh, I think last pit stop I saw, I have like a lot of right rear I can use. So I abused that right rear for those last like 3 to 5 laps.
Held up just enough here. Trenton, you've had kind of an off into this season. You've been pretty stellar overall, and the averages and the statistics don't lie. But coming into tonight, this is a track that we're all pretty familiar with. It's one of the ones you get right out the gate when you buy the iRacing service. So did you feel pretty confident coming here tonight?
Oh, yeah, during practice, I think we had like the top 10 lap average roughly. So I felt like on our short run, we were going to be good. Like when it came later into the race, and it actually came up because like coming in for the last pit stops, I was like 7 seconds back from Jeremy, and then I ended up being only 3 seconds back from him once we got to the finish. So I felt like once we were able to like know how to use our right rears, that we can use them a little more. I was able to get a handle of it.
Well, Trenton, great day overall. You had fun out there. It looked like that car was fun to drive at times. Looked like it was a pain to drive as well, but you get third here tonight. Anybody you'd like to shout out after today's performance?
I want to thank my wife, my mom. I know she's watching. And then you guys for amazing broadcast. It's always fun rewatching them back and then listening to the commentary.
We appreciate your time. Trenton Wilk in third place here tonight, and we will see you 2 weeks from today at Homestead for the season finale.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
We're moving down pit road to our second place finisher. Daniel Paulus has caught up with your points leader, Jeremy Burns, down on pit road.
Thank you, Bradley. I'm down here on pit road with Jeremy Burns and the driver, the 97, who finished here second tonight from Charlotte Motor Speedway. Jeremy, how are you doing?
A little bit exhausted. That was a pretty long green flag run, but definitely a good race overall there.
Yeah, I mean, you put on a great performance. You did excellent. It looked like you had 2 opportunities there to get the lead from the number 2 of Daniel Mullix. You had the end of pit road. You pitted actually before the leader, which I thought was really good. You were really close, but then when he came off of pit road, he was right there in front of you, and you had 2 cars that were in front of you blocking him from you to get to him. What was that like? What was going through your mind during that situation?
I knew on the long run that he was a lot quicker than me, and with the points gap, I decided that it was better for me to kind of just tuck in there and finish second, and rather than burn up my stuff and then falling back even more. But we just come in and execute. It's all right if he wins as long as I finish second. Going into next week, I should have somewhat of a gap. I don't know what it's going to be, but I know it's going to be between me and him. I have a lot of respect for him. We've had a great season, and really looking forward to seeing him come away with the championship.
Yeah, you guys are in really tight points battle situation right now, but you got a little breathing room here after Charlotte tonight. Tell me, how was your car feeling? Because we saw it really, really loose between not just you, but multiple drivers here tonight. No matter what turn, what corner, what crack of this racetrack, you guys were very loose. What was it like?
Yeah, it was a mix of diving it down to the corner, and then when you dive it in, you can't get too low or else it's gonna wash up. You can't get too high or else you get stuck and it starts plowing. And then when you get back on the throttle, you have to be really gentle with it. And you have to make sure that when you apply it, you don't spin the rear tires. And all it takes is a couple times for you to start getting loose and burn up the rear tires. So we just had to stay disciplined, and it can be difficult when you have a 120 lap green flag run. But overall, I felt like we executed pretty well on and off pit road. Just overall throughout the race, managing lap traffic, and I just felt like we had a very solid race. And after Richmond coming into this week, having another great race, so hopefully we can take that momentum into Homestead.
And then you just asked my question I was going to ask you. How are you feeling going into Homestead, taking that points lead? I mean, you got that comfortable lead between you and the two. I mean, what's your expectations for Homestead to clinch this championship?
Just honestly staying consistent, right? Like I said, he can win as long as I finish right behind him. The biggest thing is don't get caught up in anybody's mess. Try to stay up front as much as I can. Don't take too many risks, and let him try to take the risk to make up those points. It's going to be an uphill battle. I know that all the guys over at Venom is going to try to help him win the championship, which that's the teammate thing to do, and I totally respect that. It's just I know that the odds are against me even with the points lead. So I know that I have to go into next week and execute, and that's all facets of it. So if we get a restart, on and off pit road, anything like that, we just have to execute and hopefully come away with it.
Well, congratulations again, runner-up finish here from Charlotte, and we will see you down at Homestead, Miami, to see who claims a championship.
Second place finisher here tonight, Jeremy Burns. Congratulations to him, holding on to the points lead. And then finally, that brings us down to victory lane, where Daniel Molnix has claimed victory in a dominant performance here tonight. It was the Molnix show. I already called it before we even got here. I knew you were going to be strong here, and I've raced with you at this racetrack. It's one of the few places I've been on the racetrack with you. But here tonight, Daniel, you couldn't ask for a better one. You led 106 laps. I know some of these guys will take away. I didn't lead all of them, but I mean, you sealed the deal. You're going into Homestead. You have a fighting chance.
Yeah, I just needed to maximize points tonight, to have a chance at Homestead. I don't believe Jeremy led a lap, so
You did
um,
prevent that just by
yeah,
500 feet.
yeah. I knew when I was passing him, I was like, oh man, it's gonna be close. But yeah, I was able to get around him, and I know he was content with running second, because he still had a good points day. But at least I was able to keep those points out of his bag. And yeah, we'll just see how it, at Homestead, how it works out. I mean, all you can really ask for is just a chance.
Well, when you tell somebody there's a chance, they usually take it, and you're able to shave away a little bit of that points gap. And you guys have been kind of dueling all season long. The regular season got a little out of hand, but with the reset, put you back in range, and you start putting together some great finishes. I know there was some races in the regular season that didn't go your way, but now going into the final one, your mentality, how's your mindset? Everything cleared up, and you've forgotten the regular season. It's all about that one day now, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the regular season, you can run mediocre. All you really need to do is just make top 12. Um, but the playoffs, you just need to be running good at the right time. And I started off as good as you can get with a win. Um, but then, I got caught up in that wreck last week at Richmond. Uh, and that's really what set me back. So I needed to, like say, have a night like I did tonight, and hopefully I can do it again at Homestead, and that whatever, however it falls out there is just, so be it. At the end of the season, no matter what, I mean, you still can't complain. I've had what, 6 wins, 7 maybe, so that's still something to hang your hat on for that.
Trying to dethrone the defending season champion at QSR in the chase for the Cup. Daniel Monex is victorious here today from Charlotte. Anybody you'd like to shout out before we let you go on with your night?
All the admins at QSR, they great league. This is actually the only league that they had last year. Ronnie brought in the the Xfinity side of it this season, and I actually kind of dragged him into this. I'm sure you may have heard that story. If not, you might hear it another time. You guys at Speed, like I say, y'all work hard week in, week out, putting this on. Long hours, I'm sure. And everybody at Venom Motorsports, I put in a little bit of practice, and then we got in the race lobby, and the car felt about the same, really. And so I knew I had a good shot at it.
Well, Danny, we thank you for your time, and we appreciate the compliments, and we look forward to watching you duke it out with Jeremy Burns 2 weeks from today. But I mean, good luck, man. I know it's been a long one, 15 races. That's a long season. And as we get ready to start our summer officially with all the guys that race, we appreciate it and look forward to it, man.
All right. Thank you, guys.
So that's your race winner, Daniel Monex, here tonight from Charlotte. It was a good one. Hope you guys enjoyed it here today. That's going to do it for our coverage of the Chase race number 3. If you did enjoy tonight's broadcast, make sure you hit that subscribe button and check us out on YouTube at VSpeed. For everybody from the broadcasting portion of things, Adam Baker in the background doing all the things he does to make this thing look good. Morgan Cook, Eddie Smith, Christian Hill, Logan Threlkeld, our other producers, and my co-commentator up in the booth here tonight, Daniel Paulus Jr. This is Bradley Cooper telling you to have a great rest of your week. We will see you next Tuesday, QSR Xfinity Series. Till then, take care, everybody.